the generations after us, not grow up.
Pilgrims who pass through the door, which is only open during Jubilee years, can receive a plenary indulgence under the usual conditions. The Pope said he hoped that the 2025 Jubilee would help to restore a climate of hope and trust amid the doubt, fear, and disorientation caused by the coronavirus pandemic. This will indeed be the case if we are capable of recovering a sense of universal fraternity and refuse to turn a blind eye to the tragedy of rampant poverty that prevents millions of men, women, young people, and children from living in a manner worthy of our human dignity, he said.
Not a lot of trickle down from my parents' kitchen table when I was growing up. So we're changing. We decided to replace this theory with what the press is now called Bidenomics. I don't know what the hell that is. But it's working.
Pope Francis addressed a letter to Archbishop Rino Fisichella, the president of the Pontifical Council for the Promotion of the New Evangelization, in light of the upcoming Jubilee year of 2025. In his letter, the Pope encourages the dicastery in charge to make this time a period of pastoral outreach of the particular churches, both Latin and Eastern. He also says it will be important to foster a renewed awareness of the demands of the universal call to responsible participation. The Pope underlines the importance of different charisms and ministries within the Church, and invites the Church to turn to the Second Vatican Council for guidance. It isn't the first time the Pope calls for more active participation of the lay faithful.
But under the trickle-down economic theory, 3/4 of U.S. industries grew more consecrated. I'm thinking I didn't go to Mass.
Just 20% of voters believe this country is headed in the right direction. 74% say the nation is on the wrong track. Let me tell you something about this moment. We have had this sustained period of 70% about a year now. The last two periods in the history of this poll that we've had this kind of sustained negativity about the direction of the country was before the 92 election and before the 2008 election. Both of those changed the party controlling the White House.
Ruh-roh. Bidenomics is working.
That's just not true.
Whatever world they're living in, they may be working, but they're not working in our world.
If people can't even afford to go to the grocery anymore.
Bringing down inflation remains one of my top priorities.
Is your grocery bill higher?
Absolutely. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it seems like everything is just going up in terms of prices.
Core inflation, I don't see us getting to 2% this year or next year. I see us getting there the year after.
2025?
Yeah.
Core inflation 2%. So you're going to be restrictive for a long time.
We will be restrictive as long as we need to be.
Oh, restrictive. Let's just say what you mean. Interest rates are going to remain high and persistent. Inflation's not going to be transitory. High prices are going to be there for beleaguered Americans to deal with. And then Powell really came clean, linking Bidenomics to the R word.
I think there's a significant probability that there will be a downturn as well, though, but it's not to me the most likely case.
That's the hard landing scenario.
Or just this, I wasn't even thinking of hard landing. I was thinking of even a recession.
At this pivotal moment, I see several priorities for the global agenda. We must continue to fight against the global pandemic. We must revitalize the global economy and accelerate its transition to net zero. We must preserve biodiversity by deploying nature-based solutions, and we must narrow the gap between the rich and the poor to achieve more sustainable global development.
Commonly known now as mainstream media and big business, are totally overlapping in the planet that we live on. For oil companies, the more climate action can be conflated with an organisation known for its traffic jams of private jets and its Bond villain founder, the easier it will be to resist any climate plan at all. This messaging is gaining traction not because people are suckers, but because they are mad, angry, and they have every right to be. Lockdown policies have demanded months of individual sacrifice for the collective good without providing the most basic collective protections to keep families from slipping into starvation and homelessness, or to keep small businesses afloat. Meanwhile, trillions have been spent to backstop markets and bail out multinationals, and pandemic profiteering is rampant. Is it any wonder that so many find it entirely plausible that the same elites who expect them to swallow all the coronavirus-related sacrifices while they party in the Hamptons and on private islands would also be willing to exaggerate the risks of the disease to get them to accept more bitter, green medicine for the common good? So I suppose what Klein is saying is...
Yeah, about the injunction, do you plan to change your approach to social media policy in the wake of the Louisiana judge's ruling? A lot of that had to do with like the pandemic, which is now over. Are you still taking the same approach to social media now as you were then, and will you change now?
Look, again, the DOJ is looking at this. It's under their review. They're reviewing this, the injunction. So I'm not going to get ahead